Hello there and welcome back to Chengi's World. For those of you who are coming back to Chengi's World, and for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I am Chengi and you, my precious one, are my world. So come and join this party. Do not leave this channel without subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing this video, because today is Women Ask Wednesday. Okie dokie. So I am going to share the question today. I'm not going to read it out because I actually got a video form on Instagram from beautiful Elizabeth, oh love you, who had a question. And I hope, Elizabeth, that I'm able to say this the way that you meant it to be said and what you meant and how I understood it. But I believe we're on the same page. So that your video has now expired in my inbox, so I'm just gonna have to go via memory. But Elizabeth's question was that she has been dating this gentleman for 2 years on and off. She believes that they're now in a very serious, committed relationship that is monogamous, and she hasn't got any real problems with the rest of the relationship. But she just finds that since the beginning of their relationship until now, she has always entertained him at her house. She's done the cooking, and she does all the cooking, something that she believes is Hispanic tradition. Women tend to do it, so she didn't even think about not doing it. And she finds herself in a cycle where men date her and they're like, what's for dinner? And she finds herself cooking, and dates end up happening in her house at her expense. And at this particular gentleman that she was writing to me about, she was getting frustrated and wanted some guidance on how she can communicate her frustration, because this gentleman comes for dinner all the time. She cooks, entertains, etc., but always comes empty-handed. He comes empty-handed, and if he does bring something, it will be something for himself. Okay, so he will not call her and say, babe, what would you like me to bring you from the shops? Would you like a drink? What would you like to drink? When he does come, he has a drink for himself, and you know, that's how it has been. And she does not feel that he is making a contribution, and I guess she's starting to feel a little bit frustrated. And what she wanted to know, no ladies, no, she did not want to know whether she should leave him or not, because I know what you're thinking, right? She was not asking me whether she should leave him or not, but she was indeed asking me what and how can she communicate her frustration. Now, for the purposes of this exercise, so that everybody can benefit, anyone who's in this situation, who finds themselves in the situation where they're doing all the giving in a relationship, especially you ladies, this video hopefully should be for you. Of course, when I first read this question, my first port of call is always to do with positioning. How has she positioned herself in this relationship to create this outcome? Okay, so I went deep, as I always do, trying to look at the roots, but it's very difficult for me to do that without a consultation. So I have to sort of look at it from a broad perspective. Obviously, if this was a consultation with a client, I'd ask multitudes of questions and get to the bones of the situation. But assuming that what she tells me is right, that in every other area he's sweet, he's gentle, he's kind, and he is, you know, he contributes, then in this isolated instance, all she has to do is have the conversation. And this is how you would have the conversation, Elizabeth. You would ask him for permission for the right time to have a conversation. You would tell him that indeed you would say to him, babe, you know, there's something that's been on my mind, and you know, about our relationship, and I would like for us to have a sit down and talk about it. When will be a good time? He can say maybe today, and you can say as soon as possible be really good. And then he will give you a time that works, and you will commit to that time. And then when you have that moment, you will do what I advise my clients to do. I call it caressing, addressing, and correcting. Okay, you will get used to this method, and I really want you to master it, because that is how we communicate in relationships. We caress, we address, and we correct. Only when we're dealing with massive issues that could potentially become deal breakers. We don't have to do it with everything. Sometimes we can be witty, sometimes we can use other tactics, but this is a massive one for when you need to address something that you feel is potentially a deal breaker. And then you would caress him, and that is pretty much say the things that you do appreciate about him that are true, not flattery, that are true. You appreciate that he's generous and giving in every other area. You might even want to name the time he did something special and how that made you feel, and you will never forget it. And then you can explain that, after you've caressed and made him realize that this is not coming from, you always do this, but coming from, I'm about to deal with an isolated instance, then you address it. I feel that, you come to dinner every single time we have a date empty-handed. We don't go out for dinners. We don't take me out on dates. I am now facilitating our dates, and you are not contributing to those dates. So I am starting to feel used or unhappy or frustrated or angry at the situation. And then you correct, you tell him exactly what he needs to do to make it better. Okay, so I'd really appreciate it if you would bring a bottle of wine, buy the dessert, call me and ask me if there's anything I need, pick up the groceries once in a while, all the time in my book, but we're not gonna go there, Now, why would he do something like this? Why would somebody be in a situation like this? Why would a man show up to a woman's house empty-handed, expecting her to provide? Many things, one of which is you have positioned yourself in the masculine. You have become the provider, the giver in the relationship. So what has happened is you are now in the masculine role and he's in the feminine role, where he is receptive. He receives, he receives, he receives. I don't know if you guys are sexually active or whatever, but in most cases, most people are. So he is used to receiving, and then of course, he gets the good afterwards, and maybe he shows you a good time, so that's how he makes it better. So what's happened in this relationship, what I feel could have happened in this relationship, is that the roles have been reversed. You are in your masculine energy and he's in his feminine energy. He's happy to receive from you and you are constantly giving. But now the feminine in you is starting to complain and is becoming unhappy about it, because number one, you are still a woman, you are still in the receptive, so you're feeling that you are not getting, and so you have entered into your masculine. What you are doing is mothering him, and mothering is masculine, okay? So what needs to happen is you need to shift your energy and lean back a little. Don't give all that much. Your home doesn't have to be the place where dates happen. You could always suggest, babe, I don't feel like cooking today. I think you should take me out for dinner. Babe, I think we should go and do something. Babe, I think you should do this for me. And begin to change your roles. A woman is all good in the hood for you to cook for your man, especially if you've been in a relationship for a while. It's all good in the hood. But in my opinion, I believe that the man must provide the goods and then you can cook them. There must be that sense of the masculine and the feminine at work, okay? The feminine takes what the masculine gives and we multiply it. We do that with his seed. We should do that with everything else. He should provide the groceries and we provide the meal, okay? That's how orderly, and that's how things should be positioned. And when he brings the groceries, he feels good, because men have to do good to feel good. We have to feel good to do good, okay? So our state of mind determines what good we will do, but for a man, his actions make him feel good, okay? So what you want to do is put him back into his masculine place and ask him for stuff. If he is a man that truly loves you and cares about you and wants you to be happy, he is going to want to please you and follow through with the correction, okay? Now, that is one of the reasons that the roles have switched, because you changed those roles by embracing that role at that time. Maybe it was a once-off and it became a 10th off, and now it's become routine. The other reason could be that he just doesn't have the etiquette training. Most men know to show up with a bottle of wine and something, they don't show up empty-handed when a woman is making dinner. Most men know that, but that is because they were taught it. They were taught it at home by their families, by their parents, or the society that they lived in, or, just the way that they were taught. So it might be something he's completely ignorant to, because we assume that we've all been raised the same way, and therefore the expectation. So having, again, this conversation that I said will make all the difference and will enlighten him and cause him to be a little bit more of a gentleman. And hopefully this will blow over and you will enjoy the rest of your relationship. But for the purpose of those who are watching, there's also another reason, most commonly, why something like this happens, okay? Assuming he knows better, assuming he can afford to provide, assuming that it is only a matter of the fact that he is ill-informed. For most of the time, when a man does this, he is using you. Yes. Okay. He is using your resources. It is instinctual in masculine energy to give and provide. It is natural for a man to want to do that. It is also natural for him to receive back in return gratitude, a gift, a surprise, whatever, to somewhere that he would enjoy. We have, as women, have the options of giving, but not in the form of providing. Okay, not in the form of providing. We bring the fun elements. So whatever we give to our man is going to be fun. We bring those extra bits that are special. And yes, if he needed help providing for a season, that's what we're here to do. However, it is quite possible that somebody who is behaving in this manner might simply be using you. Now, one of the things that this beautiful young lady said to me is that, you know, it's been an on and off relationship for 2 years. That is an alarm bell for me, a bit of a red flag that there's something fundamentally wrong in the foundations of this relationship. On and off relationships are not something that I recommend. I am not keen on them. And I just do not believe that they ultimately work. Even if they end in marriage, there's always going to be somebody in that relationship with doubts. Okay, so I'm not going to go into on and off relationships. I've got a video on this channel. You can go and watch it, how to deal with on and off relationships. But definitely there is something wrong there in the fact that there may be something wrong in the fact and down in the foundations as regarding that this young gentleman might simply just not care about you, might simply be looking for something better, waiting on something better, and using you along the way. And this is something that you have to consult your gut about. This is something you have to consult your conscience about. And this is something that is real and that needs to be addressed. Trusting that all is well, and in which case, if he is using you, the only way out is to say goodbye and really open yourself up to the multitude and the beautiful love that awaits you on the other side. There is love so beautiful, so amazing, if we just let go of the love that is not working, okay? But see how he goes to and how he responds to the conversation, and then make a judgment. If he makes all the improvements, makes all the changes, starts to show up in a way that is pleasing, then you might be onto a good one. I hope this answers your question and helps all of you beautiful ladies. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And before I do, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can contact me via any of my platforms. Details in the description box. I will see you soon. Take care of you. Love you lots. Bye-bye now.